YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and I am back on Total War Warhammer. And many of you have been requesting to see Grail Guardians and know what they're for. Well, I'm going to still be making a follow-up video to show more tests with the Grail Guardians, but lucky for you, Mr. HeirofCarthage, who has submitted replays before, submitted this one where he puts some Grail Guardians to use in a tactic that I believe he called the Fey Enchantress the living mortis engine. And that she is. So that's one of the things that I had some people make some comments, and I kind of get what they're saying, but in the test video, people feel like that that Bretonnia's cavalry is underpowered, it really ought to be better than Blood Knights, and all this other stuff, and I think that's all somewhat subjective. And when I look at balancing, the question is, how does Bretonnia balance into the overall mix? And a lot of people think that they're just straight up weaker than, say, Vampires or Empire. And I'm not sure I 100% agree with that. I definitely think that, you know, all of those factions have things that are good, and I definitely feel like Bretonnia is a faction that has some extremely good tools at its disposal. I think it's just a matter of knowing how to use them. And in this case, the Fey Enchantress, she has this ability. Let's show you real quick, just so you can see it. But if you come down here and look at her abilities, it's right here, this one, Mist of the Lady. See where it says it takes away 8 melee attack and causes damage to combatants? This isn't just a little bit of damage, it causes a significant amount of damage. You saw where she just came up here and just kind of, you know, lorded around in front of some of these units for a moment. Look at the damage that was done in just that very short moment from her just, you know, like I said, just kind of waltzing around. 48, or yeah, hang on, where is this hit points? Right here, yeah, look. They lost over 200 hit points just from her waltzing around in front of them. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. So what it means in my mind, and I think what Iru's probably trying to get across in this video, is that the power of the Bretonnian cavalry lies in their stats and in how you support. And in this case, he's going to use Grail Knights because they're Grail Guardians because they're extremely tanky. So they're going to be a guard for the Fey Enchantress, who can use her magic to rip apart enemy hit points. Now over here, Fate of Buna, just devastating. Fate of Buna is back. And it is brutal. So look what that one Fate of Buna did. It takes a lot of magic to use it, so I do feel like it's somewhat balanced in, but it is a brutal spell. So see the Grail Guardians just plowing right on. They're going to protect the Fey Enchantress. Watch how quickly the hit points on surrounding units are dropping. See, this unit wasn't even under attack and it lost a lot of hit points. But if they get within 30 meters of the Fey Enchantress, they start eating it at a tremendous rate. I think it's about 15 hit points a second or something. It's extremely damaging to units that are around. So you can see here again, support. This Grail Knight got hit by that Fate of Buna, so then the regrowth spell comes in. And they can recover a lot of their lost health from that. So again, I think it's with Bretonnia, know how to use your support units. Royal Pegasus Knights are a fantastic support unit. And it could be argued that this Chaos Army, other than the Lord being Sigvald and then like a Sorcerer on foot, the infantry is a lot of hard counter type stuff to Bretonnia. Forsaken hard counter a lot of Bretonnian infantry, and Chosen with Halberds counter a whole lot of the Bretonnian cavalry. So this Chaos Army was definitely picked to counter Bretonnia. Fate of Buna, Halberds, Forsaken. This was definitely an attempt at a hard counter to Bretonnia. And you can see that HeirofCarthage's not going to have any simple time ridding himself of this Chaos Army. It's going to be pretty powerful. Look at this. The Comet comes in. Look at the Chaos player with a nice dodge here. Kudos, man. Talk about paying attention. I like it. And then he's going to charge back in, get another charge with his Forsaken. Nothing wrong there. Now look at the Grail Guardians, even up against Chosen with Halberds, right? You might think, oh, they'll get shredded. Not really. Look how long they sit here and hold their own. They're just a very tanky unit. They've got 56 melee defense, so it's really hard sometimes for the Chosen with Halberds to hit, plus they're losing 8 melee attack from being around the Enchantress. And then you got the Grail Relic boosting health. So the Grail Guardians are going to tank for an extremely long time against a unit that is meant to be like a very specific counter to such things. Now, where these Chosen with Halberds manage to pin in the Pegasus Knights, it is going to be a slaughter. Fortunately, the Pegasus Knights are able to slip through their own lines, but I mean, there's Forsaken everywhere. And like I said, these Chosen with Halberds can dish some serious armor-piercing damage and some serious anti-large damage. The Enchantress is just going to continue to sit here, because as she sits here, see the rate at which she's ripping hit points off of this Chosen with Halberds? That's a big deal. It's a real big deal. This one's not quite in range, but if it gets close enough, it'll be the same thing right there. I think it got close enough. Maybe started dropping. But yeah, any of those units who get too close to the Fae, they start suffering. And Sigvald, it's kind of making him heal, but she heals pretty quick. But him being around the Fae Enchantress is pulling hit points out of him too. And honestly, when you look at it from this point of view, Chaos has overwhelmed Bretonnia fairly good so far. The Sorcerer's done a ton of damage to Cavalry. Their infantry is a big problem for Bretonnia, and Bretonnia's suffering, but the tankiness of these Grail Guardians is allowing for a lot of individual engagements on the flank with the Questing Knights and the Grail Knights, and they're kind of slowly tearing up the squishier units on the flank, while the Grail Guardians and the Fae just hold in the center. This is almost like a Bretonnian Death Star, if you want to look at it this way. So see the Bretonnian units here, just Spearmen, Foot Squires, supported by Pegasus Knights, the Fae Enchantress. Look, there comes a Fate of Buna again. It is going to really hurt these Grail Knights. Fortunately for them, they had Earthblood going at the same time, or else it may have just been the end of that unit altogether. Yeah, check it out. I mean, the Chosen are getting kills. They're getting work done. But slowly but surely, the Fae Enchantress is eating away at their hit points. I think that his statement of living mortis engine was quite accurate. And the Grail Guardians have just tanked and tanked and tanked for the Fae Enchantress. So Bretonnia is playing a game of attrition right now with Chaos. Chaos has all the right counters, but if Bretonnia can survive long enough, they'll win. And that's what we're going to see whether or not it happens. Because, I mean, look at this. The Chosen with Halberds, they've got some great positioning. The Bretonnian forces are surrounded. There's a few cavalry units left, though, and they're running rear charges. And they're going to be pretty effective. Questing Knights do some pretty severe anti-armor. Another Comet of Cassandora coming in. Let's see if the Chaos player is able to dodge it. Here it comes. He's moving. Still going to take a hit. And it does some pretty nice damage. So that Comet of Cassandora hit was pretty significant. Did a lot of damage to the Chosen. And again, look, they're close to the Enchantress. So it's about 15 hit points at a time. You're going to just see these guys getting eaten away. So the fight was in favor of Chaos, but it's actually now started to swing back a little bit towards Bretonnia. Sigvald doesn't have the mass to really tear through infantry to get to the Fae Enchantress, which he would do pretty well against her. But like I said, you can see he just doesn't have the mass to get through here, especially when there's Grail Guardians around. I love the Fae Enchantress's magic attacks that she does with people, like the exploding green stuff. It looks awesome. Anyway, yeah, look at her Mortis Engine type effects. It's really taking a toll. And then so are these rear charges. Look at the Grail Knights. So again, people saying these guys are underpowered, look at them. It's late game. They're fresh. They can move around at full speed and full attack. That's a huge deal, because they're putting some brutal charges on these units in late game. Definitely able to be very, very dangerous units, even with a low unit count. Again, the Chaos units that come in closer to try and kill the Fae and her support, they just continue to get eaten away. And then the rear charges come. So this Bretonnian, almost vampire-style tactic here is working extremely well. So Grail Guardians aren't as cheap and affordable as Crypt Horrors, but they appear to be much tankier. As you can see them, they've been here the entire fight, even through all the Chosen with Halberds and other units. So it is really quite an impressive performance, and the Grail Relic here has been able to tank a little bit too, and it makes sure that the Fae Enchantress stays safe, and then her healing keeps these guys alive for even longer. And you can see the repeated charges of Knights and Pegasus Knights just eat away at the infantry, along with her damage effect from the Mist of the Lady. And the Chaos Army, which was in a very nice position earlier on in this battle, is now dying of attrition from the Mist of the Lady. Now, I don't know what Mist of the Lady means. Does that mean that she just, ate a few too many beans in the camp with the guys, and that's what that green mist is there? Maybe that's what damages the nearby units? Like the extraordinary, otherworldly gas? That's probably what it is. That's probably why she has that green aura around her all the time. You guys like that? Is that the kind of joke that you expected from me? Because I'm guessing it is. Anyway, we're going to test Grail Guardians a little more in an episode soon. similar to the one I did before. We'll focus on Grail Guardians, then we'll start picking some more units from there. We'll probably do an episode that's like Grail Guardians, Pegasus Knights, Royal Pegasus Knights, and Royal Hippogriff Knights. I think we'll cover those 4 next, and move from there. But hope y'all enjoyed this replay from Robin. I really liked this one, and it was interesting to see the Grail Knights used in that. He wasn't even using them to get a ton of kills. This was more of like just a hit point tank, and it was very effective at it. Very effective, and they still got 51 kills during the course of it too. So they tanked out all that damage to keep the Fae alive, and then she did a lot of damage to all these other units over here. And again, you can see some of the Chaos units pretty effective at getting kills, but just wasn't enough. Wasn't enough, and so Eerie Robin was able to pull it off over the Spaniard. That's a cool name. I don't know if it's after the Gladiator or something, but that's what it makes me think of when I see Spaniard there. Oh man, Russell Crowe and Gladiator. Talk about a good movie. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. Hey, I do have to ask. I've noticed, so you all gave me a huge push, and you got me to 200,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you enough. But ever since then, it's just been like, woo, just like dropped off to a trickle. I still need your support. I need your support all the time, and watching my videos is a great way to support me. But if you like the videos, subscribe, man. Stick around. There'll be more, and you can tell me what you want to see, and I'll do my best to bring it to you. Hopefully you're enjoying this. But yes, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Helps my channel grow. Helps me get more viewers, and if you want to help me succeed, that's a great way to do it, and I appreciate all of those of you who have, and I'm thankful that you're here to watch the video. Thanks for the comments and feedback you all are giving. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you soon.